Sunshang, Jim Sunsha, Yu Yong'e, Jim Hyunjung, Tan Xiaojie, Feng Daoyu, Delana Ashley Yan, Paul Andre Michaels. We remember them alongside so many Asian American lives lost, and we will honor them today in our community and our joy.
Especially in this last week, I find myself just kind of sitting there and tearing up. Our parents, our grandparents have given up everything to pick up their lives and go to a new country to find a better life for the generations that come after them.
It's the first time we actually been this kind of a rally. The incident in Atlanta really made me thinking about doing something. And whenever I see those kind of incidents, I think about my family and my kid and all kids of the color and everywhere. So first start is to bring my family to come to this rally and bring the message out to the world so that we can stop the hate.
I came out to support the youngsters. It's good to see the younger people getting involved in their community, with their ethnicity. It's sad to see that it took this all these attacks and xenophobia, harassment of Asians because of the pandemic to bring them out. But it's good to see. I am so I'm just here to kind of be a face in the crowd and support.
It's not enough to have words. It's not enough to have words. We need action. To stop Asian hate is to also include us. The model minority myth makes it so that they don't have to include us. They think that it's all good, okay? The stereotype of the perpetual foreigner syndrome is also made to not include us, okay? They want to say that we are not part of them. And that is why until we have a system that is made in our image, we are here to dismantle theirs.
What we've seen happen to those 8 Asian people is a byproduct of white supremacy. It is the same white supremacy that killed 9 black people in Charleston, South Carolina. It is the same white supremacy that murdered 23 Latinx people in El Paso, Texas.
Racism specifically towards Asian Americans is more normalized in a lot of communities than people realize. So I mean, even from like my perspective in the Black community, it's normalized to an extent. And I mean, especially even at my high school, people would make comments and stuff. And I guess people don't really realize the extent to which it's a problem.
I'm so excited for today. It's the first time that all different types of races are coming together to acknowledge what's going to happen and what's been happening in the Asian American community. It will be a unifying, empowering, and energizing experience. The whole world is watching, and we need to set the tone for the country.
When a man gets slashed on the subway because someone doesn't like the look of his face, that's a hate crime. When a woman gets acid thrown in her face in Manhattan for no discernible reason, that is a hate crime. It is only by calling out these crimes as such that we can raise the proper level of attention and frankly prosecute them the way that they deserve, to send a message that there is no room for hate in New York City.
Until January 20th, we had someone in the White House who did not speak out against hate and to many ears encouraged hate. And now it is up to all of us to speak out every time we see an act of hatred against Asian Americans or against any American, because hate against one is hate against all.
We're doing this kind of community togetherness because the image of Asian Americans has to totally change. And of course it's heartbreaking, but we also can't waste a crisis. We have to come together, and doctors have to show their face and say, we did not give you coronavirus. We're here treating you and treating our city, and we won't accept hate anymore.
We got rappers, we got actors, We got artists, we got painters, doctors, lawyers, activists. We got the whole gamut. The Asian American community is far beyond what the world thinks we are. Use your platform. On top of that, I'm gonna say that as you continue using your platform, do not be mistaken, you will encounter resistance. The louder you are, the louder they're gonna say, we don't wanna hear that. Why you riling people up for no reason? Y'all not being hated on, y'all not being attacked. We are under attack, I swear.
May us at least evoke an emotion in you today that you will carry it in your actions tomorrow, because today we'll rage together, today we'll fight together, and tomorrow we'll win together. And in that togetherness, allow me to say, we are Soon Chung Park, Sung Cha Kim, Hyung Chung Kim, Young A.U., Xiao Jie Tang, Dao Yufeng, Delana Ashley Yan, Paul Andre Michels, Pak Ho, Bishar Ratana Pakdi, Vincent Chin, as we are George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. Say their names.
It's gonna take all of us to show up. So ask yourselves, and this is a very important question, because if you can't answer this, then it's no point of us being out here today. What are you willing to sacrifice in order to push this movement forward?
This cannot just be a temporary emotional outpour. We've got to shift our day-to-day behaviors every single second of every day from now on if we really want to make a consistent change in this country.
New York City, make some noise! 20 years ago I said that. I swear I'm even more proud now to say it because of y'all. I'm even more encouraged, and most of all, I'm even more inspired. So I know we're already like 2-3 months away from the Lunar New Year, but I don't care. It's Lunar New Year for me every damn day. Gong Hei Fat Choi! Yo, Marvel, drop that. Put your peace signs up in the air, yo. Where's all my hip hop heads? It's New York City. Come on, let's go. Rock with me, everybody. Yo, my people keep their head up in the truest display. Do what they gotta do just to get through the day. Back in Hong Kong, where they grew up and stayed, until they immigrated to the US of A. Chasing the American dream, a rough ride for my pops. Guess what? He still shut them down, open up shop in the back of the kitchen, making wontons.
You didn't say the meal, the prayer meal.
We're not gonna pray on camera.
Wait, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Okay.
That didn't even take a second.
Eat.
Okay.
My God. Hi, I'm M. Marbella, and today I'll be cooking Filipino chicken adobo for my aunts. In terms of Filipino food, this is one of my favorite dishes, and it's like a really easy everyday dish to make. Maybe it's just nostalgia goggles, but it's definitely a flavor I've grown up with. It's something, it makes me happy, you know? My very first time eating it, I remember I was like 4 years old. We popped a VHS of The Mask. Yeah, I remember just eating like a huge chicken thigh, like right out of the pot. My mom, the fact that she loved to cook but she'd never let me in the kitchen, that sort of like prompted me to be like, okay, whenever I visited my aunts, especially my Auntie Nang, it would be a lot of like me using stuff I'd learned online or from like a cooking channel. One, they help me prep, and two, they do the dishes. There's, you know, that whole dynamic of like, you've got the grandma in the kitchen who does the actual cooking, you've got like her daughter in the kitchen who does maybe the prep and helps out a little bit, and then you've got like the little kid who does the dishes. It's like that, but reverse age order. I'm the one doing the cooking. My Auntie Let, who's like younger than my Auntie Nang, she's the one who helps me with the prep work, and then my Auntie Nang does the dishes. I may be the executive chef, but my Auntie Nang, she's like the executive food critic. So I essentially have to revolve everything I cook around her tastes. My mom is a big cook. Even my dad used to cook a lot. You know, food is just such a it's like an integral part of culture. In my head, this is what adobo is, right? But I think what makes it special is that for every other person, the way their parents make adobo, or you know, their grandma, whoever, that is like their reference point for adobo in their head. Okay, so here is my chicken adobo, titas. So
You didn't say the meal, the
Ano
prayer
yan?
meal.
We're not gonna pray on camera.
Well, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen. That didn't even take a second. Okay. I always go with the rice first, only
Bakit?
because I'm hungry. The sauce is good. Like always. I'm not really the food critic. It's only because
You're the picky-ish. Like when I cook, I don't like my auntie. She's a good trooper. She'll eat anything I put in front of her. This one is like, it's too salty, wala nang lasa, which means there's no taste.
if I complain, it's really because
You
maybe
always complain.
No, only because I came from work and I'm tired. So if I taste a little bit salty, I say it right away. When I was growing up, I was the one who'd always like to go dancing, go bowling, go
She doesn't
swimming,
cook.
go everywhere.
It's me.
I don't cook and she cooks. So all the time, when my suitors come in, I have to present something good, right? Because I have to impress the suitor. So I tell her, so how much will it cost me for you to cook adobo? I used to pay her. One time, it was my boyfriend coming in, and he, I wanted to impress him because he was going to bring it back to his mom. And then I told her, so today it's very important. How much will it cost me? And she said, I'm sorry, I don't care if you pay me 500 pesos. I'm not cooking. This is the end of it.
Is that true?
I almost collapsed.
And I told my mom.
This is my first time hearing this
From
story.
that time on, I really didn't like anymore. That's it. That's it. And I promised myself, okay, I will learn how to cook, but I never do.
Well, when you cooked for your kids and for me when I was younger, what did that mean to you?
It is really something when you cook for your kids. Really, it's really something.
But every time I see people or I see my nephew and nieces, I always cook for them. I think it's just part of me. I don't know why.
Yeah. She also cooks very well. She does. I remember coming here in New York and I started to call my mom and said, how do you do this? How do you do this? And my mom said, you see, that's what you get for always going to parties. Now you have children and now you're calling me from New York to Manila and you're asking me, how do you cook this?
When I was a kid, I remember like the one thing, it's so weird what sticks with you. Like it isn't anything you really cooked. I think you just like heated up some Vienna sausages for me over rice. To the 4-year-old me, that was like the best thing ever.
Then you revealed to them again that I couldn't cook. That's why I fried Vienna sausage for you.
Well, I mean, it was good.
You could.
Thank you guys so much for coming.
This is your pleasure.
Thank you for inviting us here.
She's like me. We just party, we just go bowling and swimming. That's it.
This is Filipino culture. Everyone becomes family.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everyone has to be in the picture.
1, 2, 3, move.
Do you remember the haircut you gave me the first time you gave me a haircut?
Oh yeah, I have a picture of it.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you have a picture of the first haircut?
Mm-hmm. It was love at first cut.
Yeah, right? Damn. What's your fondest memory being here so far? That one moment, like referring to one instance.
I think the fondest moment I had was probably our grand opening party.
Really? Why?
That day was so eventful, and I still chose to cut a full day's worth of haircuts.
Oh, while we were grand opening, right?
Yeah.
I'll be quite frank, I never really imagined it. I always kind of fantasized the idea of just having my own business. This fills the void for like me and the homies. Like this is something that we wanted for ourselves. And we thought, because it's not out there, why not create it? I used to sit at my desk on my day job and think about like, you know, what are the possibilities? What could I be doing other than this? Is this the time, you know, is this the time for me to go out and do something? Hi, my name is Karho, and I'm one of the founders of 12Pel. Check it out. In undergrad, I studied accounting. I actually ended up getting my master's in it. I took the 5-year program at Baruch. I went on to pass all my CPA exams, and that was kind of like the goal for me because like, for my mom, she always told me this. She was like, as long as you get your license in something, I don't care what you do afterwards. So for me, I was just tunneling my way through that, and I was like, you know, as long as I can get that done, you know, I can feel free to let my mind roam. Does it relate to what I do now? In many aspects, a lot of people that meet me and right away, right out the bat, they always go, oh shoot, you used to be an accountant, like all the finances must be super easy for you. And the fact of the matter is no, it does not, it doesn't translate. The reason being is that I am aware, but because of all the responsibilities that you have to do running the business on a daily basis, to go home and then to also do the books doesn't allow you to give the time to plan for the future of the business. I think the main difficulty that I faced when I reflect a lot was that we didn't know all the right people in the right places. Throughout most of my career for like the last 7 years before I started to do this, I was like working my way through one industry, and that's all the faces I was seeing at happy hour, all the networking I was getting done, it was like all around the same type of people. When it came down to like, hey, let's hire a designer, let's hire an architect, let's do somebody for lighting, you know, let's get an electrician, let's get a contractor. And then when all the pieces of the puzzle that you need to build a business, we had literally one. And so like we were looking at that board and we were like, oh crap, like this is where our learning curve is. Getting the right people to kind of give us the time of the day was really hard. As soon as we started to onboard these resources, we kept in touch and we kept the relationships with all these people. And being the fact that we're a barbershop, whenever somebody comes into the chair, I always joke around and I say like, this is the environment where I want you to build a relationship with not only us, but other clients in the space where you can get connected and we can be that connector for you guys. So because we go through so many people cutting so much hair throughout the day that sometimes, you know, we learn to build these relationships with all these people. We battle a lot of Asian stigma for barbershops. And what I mean by that is that's generally speaking. So if you're an Asian person, you're thinking haircuts, like how much do you think? Like how much do you pay for a haircut? And people are gonna be like $5, $7, $8. That price differential is something that we had to battle from the start. But our biggest challenge was like, how can we convince the Asian American kid or anybody actually, not just the Asian American kid, how can we convince somebody that our price point was not too much? And we're talking about like, you know, our prices being anywhere from $35 to $50. Everyone would ask us like, why? Like, what makes your shop so expensive? Like, and the crazy thing is that this only exists within Chinatown. Because if you go to a gentleman's shop, if you go to a barbershop out in Queens or barbershop out in Brooklyn, or one in Midtown, for example, you're gonna see haircuts for $50 and up. And then that's a common denominator over there. They used to call this Doyer Street and Pell Street Barber's Row. And that's because all the shops here are barbershops. I think it's cool because it meant a lot to us because to start here in Chinatown and especially on the street because it was kind of like, not to say like a modern revolution, but I say it's like the younger generation of us coming in here, creating something for ourselves, you know, leveling up the experience for all the people around us. I always fantasized about being an entrepreneur. Growing up, it was always about hustling. I called it the Asian American narrative. Go to school, get the best grades, graduate, get a full-time job, a white-collar job preferably, right? And hopefully something professional and is licensed. And I think it's a very challenging thing for, I think, the first-generation Americans. To us, it's like, hey, are we working towards our parents' ideals or are we working towards something that we want? It's like, are we doing something to make our parents happy or doing something to make ourselves happy? Even though I don't know where the direction of this business is going to be headed, where the business is exactly going to be in 5 years, because I feel like everything can change so suddenly, being the fact that business moves so fast nowadays. But I do know one thing is that I do enjoy what I do here. I enjoy being able to be the connector for the people. I enjoy helping people build relationships. I enjoy just being able to make a difference, being able to make an impact on the younger version of myself. I think that's something that's very synonymous across the shop between everybody that I hire. What really motivates us is being able to help somebody just like ourselves, you know, or rather not, it may not be just like ourselves actually, but being able to help somebody else. I think it's the big picture here. We never say it's about the cut. To be honest with you, you can go anywhere and get a haircut, but I think the connections made here are real. The people here are real, and we're here to just do this forever.
Very heavy feeling inside. I couldn't cry because I was on the train.
How did you get to America and what was the journey like?
It was terrible.
就是走路过来的。3 hours, 4 hours, like.
After we got married, like 2 weeks after, I had to come here.
My second older sister, she married a guy who obviously gave her citizenship.
Because I was already pregnant with Nick. So I didn't want to be left behind, you know.
Neck was made in the Philippines, but you made it here.
God. Next.
How did you meet Mom?
Before he went back to...
I go back and forth, looking for a wife.
We met on the phone. We met on the phone. He gave me all the block seats for Christmas. So I liked it.
So you give the good seats to the pretty girls?
He didn't know how I looked. We never met. We were just on the phone, but we came from the same region. We spoke the same language.
When he came home to meet me, he stayed for a month. And then before he came back to New York, we were already engaged and the wedding is already set up.
喺香港咯。
點知啊？
佢人哋叫佢過嚟揾我，過嚟幫佢做嘢咯。
就咁咋？
係啊。
嚇
The times are way different now. That doesn't happen.
Did you know what to do when you came to America? What was your first job here?
I do anything. I work Hallmark, the gas station, video. 我餐館做嘢。
餐館 Chinese restaurant, take out.
I came to America with one goal in mind, that I wanted to go to school.
我一落機咧，我就去乜街嗰間福臨門啊，跟住咧就啲垃圾多到咧，我係新馬嚟嘅8月，我即刻我叫你爹哋，快啲送翻我翻香港啦，我唔中意喺度，我就嘈到你哋出世，我都要翻香港，我唔中意呢度。
幻想就冇咩幻想，我諗住嚟到美國以後可以生活得會好啲咁啊，就有咁嘅諗法。
Did you experience any racism? If so, what happened?
I applied for a job, and then I got called for an interview with this lady.
咁嗰啲你記唔記得？有時揸車揸到10街嗰時，有啲細路仔咪喺度掟嘢嘅，記唔記得？我即刻差唔多落車，我拉佢，你喺邊間學校㗎？我要即刻咁咪走。
So we've been talking like 15 minutes into the interview. I suppose she understood what I was saying because it was a natural conversation. And then after that, she ended the interview and she told me that we might have a problem with my accent. In my mind, you understood what I said, so what is the problem with that? On my train ride home, I had a very heavy feeling inside. I couldn't cry because I was on the train.
What do you think about the recent attacks on Asians?
如果真係講起嚟呢，到處都有啊。不過呢，好多時候或者有啲人係自己比較敏感啊。
That bothers me a lot.
嘢未必係真係，但係佢就而真係人哋歧視。其實有時好多時候唔係一定係咁樣，你會覺得係咁樣。呢個係歧視，我覺得好多時候係一個人佢自己嘅感受。
Not just because of the coverage, but the efforts that the government or whoever in power are doing to protect Asian Americans.
What are your opinions on drugs and alcohol?
飲酒就係有時 enjoy 啦，即係 relax 嘅，但係吸毒永遠都唔會接受。
Alcohol is okay, but drugs no good.
我驚你掂嗰啲嘢。
Would you have a problem if I did that?
Oh yeah, I don't like it, baby. I'll let you drink, smoke, but no drugs. Because I've been there, baby.
What do you think about how I dress?
係少少 style 啦，都係，即係比較 organize 啲啦。
Business cash.
咁樣年青人嘅着啊，
你唔中意啊？嗰陣
唔係幾中意啊。
I didn't know that. Okay.
I think I'm very fashionable.
Yes,
Yeah.
Anybody said like that, right? So
Compliments roll in.
Imitate your parent telling your dinner is ready.
Baby, eat now.
食飯咯，人愛啊！
食飯啊！唔好要我叫咁多聲啦！食飯啊！凍晒啦啲餸，要叫幾多次啊？係啊，媽咪煮得咁辛苦，凍晒啦！我食完我就洗碗㗎啦，你要自己洗碗㗎啦，我唔幫你洗埋你嗰份㗎啦。
And the Oscar goes to